On the heels of the stabbing of author Salman Rushdie by an Islamist, reports indicate increased Pakistani-led Love Jihad activity in Greece. At hand are several documented incidents where Pakistani immigrants to Greece are drugging, killing, and raping young girls and boys, some as young as 3 years old. Athens-based doctorate researcher Paul Antonopoulos has meticulously documented such incidents and warned his compatriots not to befriend or consort with Pakistani men. Antonopoulos said that many of these Pakistani men entered Greece pretending to be Syrian refugees. He faulted former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan for explaining away these rapes by his citizens and finding fault with the victims' dressing behaviors.
If a woman is wearing very few clothes, it will have an impact on the men, unless they're robots.
Antonopoulos says that such attitudes encourage Pakistani men to become groomers of underage girls for sexual exploitation. A July 2020 report in Trigonometry found that, in the last 40 years, grooming gangs in the United Kingdom, mainly Pakistani Muslim men, raped more than 500,000 non-Muslim minor girls. Rape survivor Dr. Ella Hill famously defined the activities of the grooming gangs as, quote, racially and religiously aggravated rape, unquote.
It's predominantly white victims, and the perpetrators are predominantly Asian Muslim.
In India, Islamists have targeted non-Muslim men across the country. In Kashmir, since October 2021, targeted killings of Hindu men have increased and peaked in the last few months. In the Shopian district of Jammu and Kashmir, Islamic terrorists killed a Hindu man and injured his brother grievously. In May, terrorists killed a migrant laborer last week in Shopian and a Kashmiri Pandit, working as a clerk in a government office, in Budgam. In the previous 36 weeks, Islamic terrorists have killed 11 Hindu men. Targeting non-Muslims is not new, as Islamists do the most horrific deeds when commanded by their leaders. On August 16, 1946, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the father of Pakistan, called on fellow Muslims for a Direct Action Day program on the streets of Kolkata. His provocative speeches inspired sword-wielding Islamists to slaughter 10,000 people and leave 15,000 wounded in just 3 days. According to Rabindranath Datta, a survivor of this ethnic cleansing campaign, the murderers then hung the naked bodies of Hindus from the hooks of beef shops. They raped Hindu girls studying at Victoria College and strung their dead bodies on hostel windows. Sadly, other Muslims, disconnected from such violent thought process in the name of Islam, do not challenge such actions by Islamists as they fear retribution. Frequently, terrorists quickly kill Muslims who speak against such barbarity with impunity. Various governments, especially those in India, have been unable to prevent such outcomes.
Singapore Deputy Prime Minister Lawrence Wong publicly expressed worry that the United States and China may stumble into a direct conflict if bilateral relations descended further. Incidents like Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan increase the risk of an unintended conflict.
We are starting to see a series of decisions being taken by both countries that will lead us into more and more dangerous territory. It can easily become very dangerous, as we have seen in recent events, and can even escalate quite quickly, not because either party wants this to happen, because, as I said, both sides understand the consequences and really do not want to go into conflict. The leadership on both sides understand this. But as they say, no one deliberately wants to go into battle, but we sleepwalk into conflict, and that's the biggest problem and danger.
As punishment for Pelosi's visit, Beijing stopped all military and climate exchanges with Washington. The city-state's ruling party has chosen Wong, the finance minister as well, to succeed the incumbent prime minister. Wong almost echoed former Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger's statement to the Wall Street Journal.
We are at the edge of war with Russia and China on issues which we partly created, without any concept of how this is going to end or what it's supposed to lead to.
Responding to the American accusation that Moscow was using the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine to protect its soldiers, the Russian embassy in Washington had previously issued a stinging observation.
Today, the United States continues to act with no regard to other countries whose security and interests, contributing to an increase in nuclear risks. The USS's steps to further engage in a hybrid confrontation with Russia, in the context of the Ukrainian crisis, are fraught with unpredictable escalation, and a direct military clash of nuclear powers. The USA should take a closer look at its own nuclear policy instead of making unfounded accusations against the countries whose worldviews do not coincide with the American ones.
Talking to Telegram, it accused the United States of unilaterally withdrawing from two key arms control agreements: the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, that bans certain classes of land-based missiles, and the 1992 Treaty on Open Skies Agreement, that allows surveillance flights over each other's territories. Russia and Ukraine frequently accuse each other of bombing the nuclear reactor, and the USA supports Ukraine, labeling Russia's actions as the height of irresponsibility. In a parallel event, Russia has accused the United Kingdom of trying to provoke a confrontation.
A request has been lodged by the UK for the passing of a British reconnaissance plane RC-135 along a route which goes over the territory of the Russian Federation, among other countries.
Moscow sees this action to be a deliberate provocation and warned that the Russian Air Force had been tasked with preventing any violation of the Russian Federation's airspace. It placed the responsibility of all possible consequences to rest solely with the UK. A few days ago, a similar surveillance jet entered Russian airspace in the Barents Sea near Murmansk, a significant base for the Russian Navy's Northern Fleet. The Russians scrambled their fighter jets, and a MiG-31BM interceptor forced the intruder to leave Russian airspace. While this was the first known NATO air provocation, reportedly, a US submarine entered Russian waters near the Kuril Islands in the northern Pacific. Moscow says they chased this submarine off, but Washington denies such an incident. Moscow says that NATO increased the number of reconnaissance flights by over 30%.
If you like this content, please press the like button and share it with your family and friends. Please consider subscribing to this channel. It is free. Press the bell icon to receive notifications about new content.